In this video, I'm going to show you how to go from this to this and create a banger lighting setup for your YouTube channel that elevates you from looking average to looking like a professional YouTuber. Doesn't matter if you're shooting on an iPhone or if you're using a professional camera. After following this tutorial, you know the exact steps on how to create a professional look for your YouTube channel. The questions we'll cover is what makes a professional lighting YouTube setup and what equipment are professionals using that you are not. But don't worry, it's a lot easier than it looks. It's a simple 5-step process that we're going to go through here. So let's get into it. Now, the very first step is the simplest but often the most overlooked and can be the most important. You want to block out any natural sunlight that is coming into the room because obviously it can change your exposure, but also another thing that's overlooked is oftentimes it can change your white balance, which doesn't get talked about enough in how to create a nice cinematic image. Now, for me personally, I don't have blackout curtains or rollers on my window yet, but I just kind of make do by hanging up this 5-in-1 reflector, and it allows me to black out everything in the room. Now that we have everything under control, it's time to add our first light, our main light, or should I say the key to the entire thing. Sorry, I'm a dad, I cannot pass up a good dad joke, but we're going to add our key light. Your key light is going to be your main light that is lighting up your face. If you set this up correctly in the right place, this alone will put you ahead of half of YouTubers. But if you don't set it up correctly, you'll end up with bad looking video just like you started with. So how do we set up a key light and where do we put it? Now, the first thing before we even start talking about placement, to get a good key light, we need more than just the light. You are going to need some type of diffusion. Typically, you'll want to get a softbox on your light. Now, if you paid attention in physics class any at all, or even if you didn't, diffusion is really just spreading out the light. The reason why we need this is because when we're lighting faces, we want what we call softer lighting. If you just take most lights out of their box and set them up, you're gonna have really hard light with really harsh shadows. It's not going to give you the flattering look that you would want for a professional YouTube setup. Now, real quick before we continue with the setup, I want to talk about the light that I'm using to light me right now, which has quickly become one of my favorite lights, which is something that I really didn't expect. This is the Nanlite PowerSlim 120C. It's a panel light. I've always used cob lights with big parabolic softboxes on them. When Nanlite asked me if I wanted to check out these lights, I was kind of like, sure. I've never really used a panel light, especially for YouTube before. So I thought maybe it'll be okay and we'll see. But it has quickly become one of my favorite lights. Here's why. One, needing a softbox like we're talking about actually comes attached to this light and it packs down really slim. And then if you are a creator that has a smaller space, because these lights are slimmer and more compact, you're still getting a really nice soft light on your face, but with like a third or even a fifth of the amount of space that I was using before. And even though I have the amount of room that I need for a softbox in this room, the room just feels less crowded. The lights are also full RGB and has effects built into them. So this is going to be really good for me when I'm doing client work, like any short film, documentary, even like day in the life content that we're doing here. You'll see some more of this light. Okay, light placement to make sure that you're getting the best lighting. You want to set the light about 45 degrees to one side of your face and then up and above so it's shining down on you. And then another thing that a lot of people don't talk about is you want to get the light as close to you as possible. The closer the light, the softer the light is going to be on your face, and you're going to get a little bit more wrap around the face as well. So for me, my light is actually just right here. I normally bring the light right into the frame and then pull it right back out so I know exactly where to place it there. And that's how I'm getting this nice key light here. Next up is what I think is super subtle, but is what separates amateur videos from professional videos. And once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. In almost every professional lighting setup, whether it's here on YouTube or in movies, documentaries, everybody always have what they call a rim light or a hair light. And boom. As you could see, it's called a hair light because it normally lighten up the hair. I don't have any hair, but we could call it, also called a rim light, because you could see I get this nice light, not just on the top of my head, but also here on my shoulder, helping to separate me from the background. In terms of placement, you want it out of frame, just behind you on the opposite side of where your key light is, and then you just want that facing down, hitting the head. I'm using a smaller PowerSlim panel, a PowerSlim 60C, and I have it set to tungsten to contrast the daylight that I have here. So you see it, and then you also see as we move into our other lights, how that complements and motivates my hair light. Which moves us into step 4, is adding our mood and our background and our decorative lights. I have a couple of power tubes that sit up top that I always have in my videos. I have those set to orange and teal, and then to kind of fill out the rest of the frame, I have these small power tube 6 CPs, and these are set to tungsten. So let me turn those on. These sparse tubes are pretty amazing. They're also magnetic, so you could place them in different spaces like this to help decorate. As I mentioned, they're full RGB as well, so if you wanted to go through some different colors, you could do that, but I have mine set to 3100 Kelvin to match the hair light, so the hair light looks like it's motivating the lights that are behind me. Now, for me personally, I don't mind this dramatic look because it is kind of dark there with the light. It's very moody, but it's something that I would go for, and you see a lot of YouTubers doing that. However, step number 5 is we need one more light just to kind of bring up the room tone for a lot of people to give it a little bit more high key look. So you could use any kind of light here, but I'm going to use a cob light with a reflector on it. And what I'm doing here is that I'm just going to point it up at the ceiling. Then if I turn that on, this is a Nanlite FS 150 that is out of frame, but it's just shooting up off the white wall and then just bringing up the tone of the room. I have it perfect right here, but if I want to turn it up a little bit, I can make the room a bit brighter to give it a more high key look, but I'm going to turn that back down. That's right where I like it. So if you follow those 5 steps, you will be able to create this look, and as you could see, it did not take that much effort. Links will be down below to all the video equipment that I talked about, but if you want to see my Sony settings, how I create videos like this, click the link right here. More importantly, once you have recorded your video, if you want to see how I color grade my videos in Final Cut Pro to get this look, link to this video right here. Hit the subscribe button and the notification button, and I'll see you in the next one. Big up yourself. Peace.